Thank you very much. We are opening this subcommittee up, which is the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Chairman Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Elliott. Councilor Laurie. Here. Councilor Nguyen. Here. 3 present.
Thank you very much. This is a very important subcommittee. This is the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee, and with summer approaching and the need to get our children occupied, once school is out, it's very, very important and crucial to the environment of the city. We are here this evening to discuss a motion proposed by City Councilor Marty Laurie to explore the options to expand and enhance the city's summer recreational offerings. Having said that, I'd like to turn the meeting over to the person that the maker of the motion, Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. This is, I think, been a long time coming in the city. It's something we've waited for a long time. There's been some economic problems over the years, as we all know, and I think now's the time to really bring this back and look at it. And we had sent a proposal down and asked the Commissioner, Mr. Bellegarde, to come back with a program, and we'd like to hear a little bit about it.
Okay.
Before I begin, I just want to make note of the fact that our Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Tom Bellegarde, is present this evening, along with Peter Fatacanti, who is the Program Director in the Parks and Recreation Department as well, our City Manager, Bernie Lynch, as well as our Assistant City Manager, Henry Marchand, all present here this evening. And so I'd like to ask the City Manager, and I know from the viewers that are watching will really be amazed at all the offerings that we have available this year. Thank you, Councilor Laurie, for getting on board with this. This is very important, as Vesna Noon, our councilor, knows how important with the young children that he has, that it's nice to occupy their activities. Mr. Manager?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a very positive step forward, I think, for the city. We have, as Councilor Laurie has indicated, we have gone through a very difficult economic time over the past few years. And it's certainly been a priority of the council and the administration over the last several years to do more for recreation and to make sure that we had the pools open and do as much as we possibly could in terms of providing recreation opportunities. We tried to create some different options through the years, using some outside vendors that perhaps could come in and do run some summer camps. Mr. Bellegarde has been tried to be as innovative as he can, and that is continuing. But this year, given the financial condition that we find ourselves in, we were very pleased when Councilor Laurie came forward with the request that we investigate this, because we felt that this was something that at long last we would be able to make happen. And I think you'll hear tonight, I'm not going to steal the thunder, I'm going to let Mr. Bellegarde really describe for you our overall program, but you'll see that we've rolled out a program that provides opportunities throughout the entire city. Every neighborhood is covered. It'll cover programming for various age groups. We'll still be having the pools open. There'll be, in fact, we're looking at expanding some of the hours there. We're working with our Career Center on some youth opportunity programs that can tie in with this. I've been in communication with the library and Cool to see if we can enhance the program even more with some library programming that can tie in with recreation, as well as some cultural opportunities that our new director, Susan Halter, is working on. But the real foundation, as we all know, of a summer recreation program, is what goes on in the playgrounds. And so I think we've put together a good program, and I'll turn it over now to Tom and Peter to let them describe to you what we have in mind, and I think people will be very pleased. I should also note, as Councilor Laurie knows, we're working closely with the police department on some other issues that tie in with our parks program that I think will really enhance everything that we have to offer, but I'll turn it over.
Thank you. Commissioner Bellegarde?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you, Mr. Manager. When this motion was brought forward from the council to the manager's office, the city manager called me almost immediately to sit down and talk about ways and means of developing something that would look a little bit like recreation that we had in the past. And that is really setting up multiple areas in Lowell across the city to have recreational opportunities for the kids. And what we're trying to do, and Peter and his staff is working to put the full schedule of recreation activities together, which is going to really make for an interesting and a really exciting summer of 2012. By taking recreation and making it a citywide, putting citywide opportunities, it now allows kids to walk in the park, similar to what they did back in the day where you went there to be organized recreation, whether you bounce a basketball, whether you like arts and crafts, if you want to take on one of the staff in that traditional box hockey game, we're going to have all that. Some of the other things that we'd like to bring on, because it's not always, some recreation is passive. We'd like to bring on board games. You know, the old Pachisi, the game of life, Monopoly. You'd be surprised how many kids have never played Monopoly. And that's really going to end this year. This is going to end this summer, because we're going to do all these type of things to really try to bring and network kids back in. I think another thing that's very important, and again, it was one of the thoughts, obviously, with us, and obviously city manager supports it, and that is targeting high school kids. Trying to empower high school kids, getting them involved, getting them out of the house, employing them. Having the high school kids involved with this program is good on many levels, and it's something that we thought was very important. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to take them from being shut-ins, bring them into the parks, get the meet and greet kids that they've probably seen in the neighborhood but never really been around to talking to them. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it puts a few dollars in their pocket. Another bonus to this summer's program is the fact that our friends in Lowell Police Department have put together an initiative, and I'll let Deputy Superintendent get into that, whether it be tomorrow or the week after. But basically, it goes hand in glove with the initiatives we're putting together. We're providing training for our staff. I met with him, he's met with my staff, and I think you're going to find that when you combine all these separate pieces together, it's going to make for a fantastic summer of 2012 here in the city. All that being said, what I'd like to do at this time is pass on to the Recreation Director the mic so he can explain to us some of the other things that makes up summer camps and summer programs and all the good things he's working on. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fataconti, yes.
One of the things that we're looking at doing this summer is expanding not just our swim lesson sites, which ran last year, but we're also looking at expanding our tennis program from last year. We had 178 kids enrolled in it last year, which was up from 65 kids the year before. So we're looking at extending that by adding a couple of tennis instructors on to help handle the load. We're looking at adding our swim lessons. We had 456 kids enrolled in swim lessons last year, up from 350 from the year before. So we're looking at trying to expand that by add some weekend and some night lessons in. On top of those two areas, we're looking at putting some programs out there that haven't been out there in about 10 or 12 years. We're looking at putting 5 camps up for ages 5 to 9, and those would be enrolled camps where the parents sign in and sign out their child every day. They run for about 5 to 6 hours a day. And those are scheduled throughout the city, typically at sites where there's a school, so we have bathroom access, we have lunch program access, we have the ability to go inside on rain days, that kind of thing. And we're also looking at adding 6 or 7 camps for 10 to 14-year-olds, and those are more of a drop-in camp. Those kids are more mobile, they can ride the bike down to the park themselves, put some staff in the park, so that way it's a safe environment where the kids have an activity they can be involved in, and those sites are also looking at being at school sites that have bathroom and lunch access as well.
Could I ask you what the difference between a campsite and a drop-in site is?
Yep, a campsite, the parent has to physically bring the child down to the staff, sign them in with the child's name, the parent's name, and the time of drop-off, and that parent has to be the same one to pick them up at the end of the program. And again, they come down, they sign their name that they're picking up their child and the time they're picking them up. One of the things we've seen in the past is with split families, occasionally you have a restraining order situation where one parent has custody, the other parent doesn't, and we've had issues where, you know, a mother would drop the child off and a father would try to pick them up. So to eliminate that issue, we make the parents sign in and sign out every day. And if they're not going to be the same one picking up, they tell us when they drop them off, or they can call the office and arrange some type of settlement, so that way we can know who's coming to pick them up in advance. The drop-in camps, it's for older kids who, like I said, are more mobile. They can ride their bike down. They aren't required to stay the whole day. Those sites are typically at sites where there's summer school, so the kids would come out of school program after having lunch, and then our staff would already be there when school gets out to participate with the kids in different activities.
I just want to say how important this program is, and a lot of work thoroughly went into this. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes we look at the past and we take the good of what happened in the past, and over the years we miss out on money opportunities, and so programs are dissolved. But many years ago, we had the police interacting with the parks, and that was so overwhelming. It was so beautiful, because there's a lot of kids that grow up to know that the police, oh, they're going to arrest you. There's a connotation of scariness there, but when they get to meet them and they play and have activities in the parks, basketball or whatever, like they did at Palin Plaza years ago, that was a great opportunity for the kids to say, gee, this guy isn't so bad, and if I have problems, maybe I can talk to him. So that's a good thing. Not only that, and I don't want to monopolize this, but we're having 5 sites at we're having school campsites at 5 sites, campsites at 5 areas. We're going to be utilizing the Daly School, Rogers School, Wang School. We're going to have drop-in locations at the Merklin, Stocklosa, Bartlett, Morey. You know, we spent, as taxpayers, an awful lot of money on schools, and once it's 2:30, 3 o'clock, bang, the school is closed. This is an opportunity to open that up, let the taxpayer have something for their money by letting the children utilize that building in the summer to use the bathroom, to have a place to eat, to have activities inside if it rains. This is all what's the best of both worlds. This is so wonderful. I should save something for you.
No, I just, when you're done.
But it's just so amazing, these things that have taken place, field hockey and all the things that, and swimming lessons, and so I really am very pleased. The thing that gets me more, I want to give thanks as well, because with these sites are also food. Children are going to be eating, not only are they going to get their exercise and be physically fit, they're going to have nourishments, nutrition, community teamwork along with the school department and the Merrimack Valley Food Bank, 3 entities that are coming on board to help. So it's a combination of so many partnerships in the city. So having said that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Marty.
Thank you, Councilor Mauricio. No, I was listening. I just wanted to acknowledge that when you were done. I looked at the programs that we're going to be having across the city. Now, years ago, we used to have activities like kickball, maybe softball, baseball, and we would compete against different teams. I grew up down at Chambers Park, which is now Olivera. We would play O'Donnell's, the South Common, Kerwin Park, Shed Park, and then whoever had the best records would go across the city. Are we looking at anything like that, or too far out now? Or?
I think all those things can be built upon.
Yeah.
I think this year it's really on rolling it out and getting people in, and then, going from there and building on these things.
The other thing, we're talking approximately 70 jobs, and that's going to be great for the city. The children will be getting the jobs here in the city. They'll have some spending money. Not always, but it used to be in the past that you tried to keep a child near the park where they lived. They knew the kids in the area, and there was a bond there. Are we going to be looking to try to do those things again this year?
That is the plan to, obviously these jobs will be focused on Lowell kids and in the neighborhoods. Right.
I talked to school committee woman Kim Scott. We happen to be talking on the phone on a different issue, and she's very excited about this. And Kim has some small children, and she was wondering about the availability of books. I don't know if we still have the bookmobile.
Well, that's what I was saying. We're working with the library. We don't really have the bookmobile anymore, but what we do have is the new cool van, and we might be able to put that to use with some, perhaps tying it in with the library and have them come out with some books and do some reading out in the playgrounds.
And this is great. And one other question I did have, when we talk about parks and recreation, that's always been age groups 8 to 15. But there's other age groups across the city, and we're going to be utilizing the schools this year. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. One of the issues I was wondering about was in some areas, the elderly. Would there be a facility if on a really hot day they wanted to get out and go into a school or go somewhere where there may be?
Having the elderly be able to go into?
Sure, if we had the schools open, I mean, I know it wasn't a proposal, but recreation to me should be, as we live long,
Oh, exactly.
I'm 56, so every year I have a birthday, recreation extends another year,
Right.
in my opinion. But I was looking at that, even if they go in and watch the games, or there's some that, as a mailman, you saw was on a hot day, they had no place to go. And where the gyms are gonna be open, or the schools, maybe we could put aside a room.
Yeah. We can take a look at that. We haven't, usually when with real hot weather, we extend the hours at the senior center and do things there.
Okay, that's fine.
And we might be able to. I think one of the issues we might run into with the drop-in, with the sign-in area are the allowing people in
Okay,
to an
no,
area.
absolutely, okay.
But we can certainly explore some of those possibilities.
Nope,
I think the idea of having drop-in areas closer to people's homes does make sense. It's just
That's completely
logistics, but-
understandable,
yep.
though, completely understandable, I didn't even think of that. We talked earlier a little bit, and I guess everyone's addressed it, was the issue with the police. I put in 2 motions, one was to explore to expand the summer recreational programs. The following week was the second motion to have the police meet with Park and Recreation and come up with the a Safe Summer Program, and I specifically put them in for 2 different reasons and for 2 different times for a specific reason, and that was to not confuse the programs, not to get it overwhelmed. So this particular program was to enhance, and which you did. When I saw the reports, as I said at last week's meeting, I couldn't believe what came back. This is beyond my wildest dream. And then, of course, the week later was to work with Deputy Superintendent Ryan for a summer safety program. I don't know how many times in my life I heard when I was a mailman, the kids going to the park, people were concerned about the safety of the children, and to get that eliminated, and I think that will be done this year. I know Commissioner Belgard is working with Deputy Superintendent Ryan. I said on the radio, I said publicly in the past, I think when this summer's over, we'll have a national pilot program on park and park safety. And I really just want to thank you for all the work you've done, what you've brought forward, and I'm ready to look forward to the summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I recognize Councilor Noon, we just have, I forgot to mention that Councilor Bill Martin just arrived a while ago, too. Councilor Noon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Woman, this is a great investment for our children, and I want to thank Commissioner Belgard and his staff, Peter Fendicati, for answer the call and do more with less. And 70 jobs that we will provide, maybe some of those jobs will go to the Lowell High School student, as well as the collaboration and partnership that we are going to build with the CTI. I know Light Commoted Children also have a program every summer. And so same with the Boy and Girl Club. I know that Joe from the Boy and Girl Club the director there have actually beefed up their program, adding more their staff as well as the program. So with all that combined, with all the partnership that we have, we're certainly going to have a great summer for our children. Along more or less echoing Councilor Lowell, is that the training. I know that Commissioner Belgard aware of it. That I'm sure every summer you would train staff and volunteers before the summer program start, what to watch out. And I'm so excited to hear Peter Panicati spoke of the restraining orders and all that. And in addition to that, there's also issues of watching out of sex offenders nearby and whatnot. So the officers can give a training to all the staff and volunteer what to watch out for. And that's certainly going to enhance the safety, not inside the pool or inside the playground, but also, surrounding as well. So with that, I'm very excited. And the other things too is I want to offer to Commissioner Belgard that in reaching out to a lot of his parents, because we have a lot of this program and we want them to all utilize this program. In all these sites, there's LTC has a number of a multicultural program, as well as UMass Lowell. I'd be happy to hand out to the program to give it to the program directors for all those minority TV and radio shows so that they can broadcast time and again to invite parents with small children or grandparents with small children to participate in this program. Thank you, Commissioner Ballard.
Thank you very much. With this proposal, no doubt, comes money, and we know that the manager has proposed to put in the fiscal year budget $154,450. Now, would that money go into the line item is that portion with the Career Center as well for the hiring of the youth?
It does include the hiring of that does include the hiring of the youth. That's outside. The Career Center there'll be some summer jobs through the Career Center grants for, but that's separate. These 70 are positions are specifically within that 154,000.
Mr. Manager, would we need a motion to support the increase of that amount in the budget for that?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. I was just thinking that we're a little bit ahead of the budget process here, but certainly an endorsement of this program by the subcommittee and by the city council will be helpful to us as I will tell you that money is included in the fiscal year 13 budget, which will be presented to the council hopefully next Tuesday night. So certainly a vote of endorsement would be very helpful.
So I would entertain a motion that we support the increase in the fiscal year 13 recreational budget by the $154,450. Would we? So a motion by Councilor Laurie, seconded by Councilor Noon. Roll call on that, Mr. Clerk.
Chairman Mercier.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott. Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
3 yeas.
Councilor Martin? Okay. Is there any addition that we'd like to? I know that we like to save the taxpayers' money. There's no doubt about that. But when you look at this price, and it is rather high, I think our children are worth it. I think that they're in school all season when they're supposed to be, but then the summer comes, and do we not provide any means to entertain and make safe the youth of our city? Or do we want them to just run haywire and discover all this idle time that they have and then go off and join a gang or something? This is very important, and I know that it's money well spent, in my opinion, and I think that of my colleagues as well. Councilor Laurie?
Thank you, Councilor Mercier. It is a rate increase, but I've said it on the council floor, and I've said it publicly. If we want to attract people to move to Lowell, companies want to move to Lowell, if we want to attract their workers to live here, we have to offer them something. All the towns have these type of things for the children, and if we don't have it, people are going to leave. And I think if we attract 25, 30 families a year just to move to Lowell because we have these facilities. This year we also voted on having skating rinks in the park in the summertime, in the wintertime, and it wasn't cold enough, but we'll be back next year. So we're going to have activities for the families, and I think if we attract just 30 or 40 families a year to move into the city, that covers the cost. And it will keep people here. And I think it's not spending to me, it's an investment. We're investing in the community, and I just think it's a great investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Noon.
I'm all set. Really, thank you.
Any further discussion on this very important issue? Commissioner Belgard?
Just to the chair again, when the manager called me upstairs into his office, we were looking at, where to start, what to do, and how to do it. And it was important, the discussion really centered around making sure it's balanced, putting a balanced approach to this. And we had a little teeny map of the city, and we kind of discussed, he took his little circles and put them around. And I was gonna say this for tomorrow night, Mr. Manager, but it's probably safer to do this now. This is a blow-up of what he did and the balance that we're talking about. This is how summer recreation is gonna look this year, on a bigger scale. There's no foam cord, Mr. Manager. But I think it really does show and prove that it is gonna be balanced, and again, it does a lot of good, and I think at the end of summer, we're gonna get some real positive results out of it, so that's really all.
Yeah, that is true, that's good, and we should hold it up tomorrow when I do the subcommittee report.
Okay. Private, personal joke.
Private joke, Mr. Belgard and I have a, but if I could, just on one last point, just to echo Council Laurie regarding this being an investment and something that people care about, I always tell the story that when I first became city manager, one of the questions that was immediately put to me, even before I was sworn in, was by some of the parents in the city, was asking about, could we do something to build the recreation program? So I'm happy that after some very difficult times, we're finally getting back to building it, as Peter said, for the largest it's been 10 or 12 years. So that's I think is very positive. I do think it's an investment. I also think that I can't give you all the details of the budget because we're still putting the finishing touches on it. But I do think that this is we can afford this in this coming year and still meet the other goals that we have as an administration and city council regarding the overall fiscal year 13 budget.
Well, we're going to adjourn very soon, but the map that Commissioner Belgard held up, if I can do a brief synopsis in 2 minutes as to what he had held up there, there'll be tennis at Shed Park, arts and crafts at Shed Park, South Common, McPherson Park, Olga Neves Park, Mulligan at Avenue C Park, and Rin Beach. There'll be arts and crafts there. Swimming lessons at the South Common, McPherson Park, Rin Beach, as well as open swimming. We had Shed Park, we have the splash pool. Now we're adding 5 campsites. The 5 campsites are Shed Park, Daly School, Gage Park, Rogers School, Wang School. We have Master Ann that'll do Taekwondo teaching. We have drop-in locations at 6 locations, the Merkland School, Stocklosa, the Bartlett, O'Donnell Park, the Maury School, and Father Maguire in Pawtucketville. And at Colley Stadium, we have girls lacrosse, field hockey, and we have swim lessons at the South Common, McPherson Park, and Rin Beach. That's it in a nutshell. That encompasses the whole city. So I'm very pleased, and at no charge. Like when we say arts and craft or swimming or taekwondo, there's no cost associated with that. So thank you very much for your diligent efforts. We're very, very pleased. I'll try to do honor to present this tomorrow evening. So thank you very much. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn by Councilor Laurie, seconded by Councilor Noon. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.